Let's go over Star Wars Episode 9 when it comes to the character of Rey and Emperor Palpatine. This is Mike Zero here. If you guys are new to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see more about this film when it comes to J.J. Abrams and how he's taking things with this movie, and the set designs, the set leaks, the concept art and storyboard descriptions, etc. One of which specifically has all to do with Rey and Palpatine. It seems to actually have some inspiration from Star Wars Battlefront 2. Rey inside of what appears to be the interior of an abandoned Star Destroyer, looking down at a red figure. As Rey is kneeling down, she turns on a messenger to goes over how important dialogue is delivered to Rey while the messenger loops. Now, what's really interesting to me is that apparently we are going back to Jakku in Episode 9. Nothing is confirmed about Jakku's return just yet, but the location they were going to shoot for, Jakku in The Force Awakens, now they're going over there for Episode 9. So we do know that Emperor Palpatine had a lot of knowledge for the planet of Jakku. Now, could Rey actually be learning from this Emperor Palpatine messenger? Now, in past descriptions, we have gone over how she comes across and how involved that he really is in the overall plot of the movie. If you look at it like this way, if Rey comes across this messenger actually in an abandoned Star Destroyer, quite possibly on the planet Jakku once again. Maybe it's the same exact one that we saw at the very beginning of Episode 7. She turns this thing on, and the Palpatine hologram within this droid is talking to Rey. But what kind of important dialogue would he be giving Rey? Could it very well have something to do with herself and her identity, or does it have something this planet? Very secret reasons, and we're not quite sure why. We're not quite sure of the full picture just yet. I've heard that this has been explored in other pieces of, different canon pieces that have all to do with the events before the sequel trilogy here and there, and it seems like that maybe JJ is trying to incorporate some of that into Episode 9 fruition. Not only would it be a great way to implement some Battlefront 2 content into a live-action movie, but it's also a great way to have Rey interacting with yet another character from the past in the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy itself. To me, I think that this is the best way to bring back Emperor Palpatine, as close to being alive as possible in the form of a messenger. I'm not quite sure if you guys know what I'm talking about, but the messenger is in a Battlefront 2 video game. It basically looks like, a red cloaked figure with a helmet that projects an image of Emperor Palpatine delivering these messages, or these commands, if you will, in case if the Empire ever were to fall. So now we're hearing that, Rey actually does come across this messenger in a wrecked Star Destroyer and turns it on. And important dialogue does end up being in the film. It could very well have something to do with number 1, her identity, or number 2, the planet Jakku and what's on there. I honestly cannot wait to see what JJ has in store for us. We have heard from Donald Gleason that this movie is going to have a lot of big surprises, and it's very much different than what he has worked on with The Last Jedi. He actually expressed this before, I believe it was 3 days ago, how this movie is so different for him in comparison to The Last Jedi, and how different JJ really is doing things for this movie. But anyways, guys, drop it for today. Do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Gun in hand, we are alone again. No, I am not the one. From night to moon.